Steven to be on in just a minute. I think Jay's going to be out today, probably with work, but we'll have four out of the five of us in here today, man. Fellas, what's going on?
Man, not much coming off of a great weekend of SEC football, and Alabama actually looked like they had a pulse this weekend, so I'm happy.
Yeah, they did. They did. So look here, man. I just want to get straight into it, man. First game, Auburn, Texas A&M, 27-10 victory by Texas A&M.
Ugh.
I know. Sad news though, so Connor Weidman got hurt and he's out for the next 3 to 4 months. So he's out for the season. So Max Johnson is going to be heading up this Texas A&M Fighting Aggie offense that looks very lethargic right now. Ty, I'm going to hand it over to you, man. What you think about this win by Texas A&M?
Yeah, I mean, look, anytime you can get a win, it's something, right? It is a win. All wins are better than losses, and especially when your starting quarterback goes down. So that was good for Texas A&M, but if you were someone who still had questions about Texas A&M, this weekend did nothing to answer those questions and only did more to further those questions. I don't know what Texas A&M is going to look like going forward. Now that being said, when Max Johnson came in there, he was playing football. Like he was showing the team, I'm going to be willing to put my body on the line to try and get a first down, to try and get this gain. And that at least looked like it galvanized the team. Now, galvanizing a team can only take you so far, right? Like if your guys want to play for you, that's all well and good, but do you have the ability to go get it done? The one thing I will say in Max Johnson's defense, he's an experienced quarterback in the
Hmm.
SEC, and his touchdown to interception ratio, I think it's 42-7. So he's been able to get some touchdowns, but he also hasn't been able to be that guy long term anywhere. Hopefully Weigman will be able to bounce back fully okay. Hate hearing that from him, but yeah, if you were still trying to see this Texas A&M offense come together,
Keep
you're going to have
watching.
to wait.
Chris, what's going on, man? How about you?
Man, I would say this right here. I just felt like it took them way too long. Took a lot of teams way too long, but it took them way too long to create that separation. When Peyton Thorne is on the other side, it should really shouldn't be that much. But all jokes aside, though, no, I would just say that Max Johnson is a durable quarterback, serviceable quarterback. I don't know. I don't know how much you can I don't know. I'm just drawing a blank really on them because I really don't know what to expect from Texas A&M going forward. Defense seems like it's starting to come alive a little bit, but then again, it's Auburn. Auburn is kind of playing without a quarterback in my mind. You can't really
Thorne
get
is terrible.
yeah, you can't get Robbie Ashford into a rhythm because you're bringing him for select situations, but then Peyton Thorne, it
He's
doesn't really
terrible.
matter. Yeah, and I mean, let's put it like this right here. Ty made a great comment in the green room before we came on here. He was talking about how Petrino look his offense looked bland, different things like that. Well, I would say this to me. Weidman was Petrino's best chance to actually add some creativity to the offense.
Good point.
Now you're seeing it. You saw it on both sides of the ball from both offenses. Even though you have great offensive minds on both sides of the ball, their creativity is limited because of the quarterback play that they have. So, I mean, that's just kind of one of those things that I just see. But Texas A&M overall, I mean, it was a good win. You're what are they now? 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1.
Yeah, they're 3-1. They're off to a better start than they were last year. So I would say they don't look convincing yet, but I think we'll find out. I want to say next weekend, whenever they host Bama, right?
Is it next week? Yeah, and it's at Cal
A&M,
Field.
yeah, next
Uh huh.
weekend.
This week against Arkansas is kind of, I mean, it's kind of up for grabs. That game is always kind of a seesaw battle
That's gonna be a
until
good game.
midway through the third quarter, in my opinion. But I think that you'll find out more about this A&M team when they play Bama, simply because Arkansas, as good as they were that those first few years of the Pittman era, I wouldn't necessarily say they regressed, but they damn sure haven't really taken that step forward like we all thought they would.
Gotcha. Hey, Steven, how about you, man? Well, first off, Steven got the crispy lineup today. I see you, player. I see you, baby.
NIL package.
I told you we would be back up. I don't know why y'all are acting surprised. This is the normal. This is the standard.
There was no
Sometimes-
way he was coming back without it.
Absolutely not, or else you just wouldn't have seen me today. No, but in regards to A&M Auburn, I will say, anytime you see somebody go through what A&M went through, losing Connor Weigman, it's always good to see the team bounce back. That is a positive, no matter how, you can't spin it any other way. So if you're Jimbo Fisher and that coaching staff, whether you're DJ Durkin, whether you're Bobby Petrino, you're happy with how your team responded in that football game. You're happy that Max Johnson was prepared to play football and not succumb to the pressure and some of the things that were going on within the game. I also give a lot of credit to Auburn defensively. They slowed down a pretty good attack for the most part, to hold that A&M offense in check until I know the score. You look at 27-14. It was a little whatever the final score was, but it's a little bit different when you look at the context of actually watch, or 27-10, watching that game. I thought it was good that A&M got their run game going. For the Le'Veon Moss got off, Amari Daniels got off. Those guys, they've been struggling just to hand the football off consistently. So I think there's some positive takeaways that you can look at that game. I think this weekend's game against Arkansas is fascinating.
Yeah.
Because Arkansas put up a hell of a fight in Death Valley.
Sure did.
Yeah.
And so that matchup there in the SEC West is for survival now. That's going to happen where I'm sitting here in Arlington, Texas this Saturday. That's going to be that's how I'm looking at this. This is a hell of a matchup that this is now set up. And to Chris's point with Auburn, Chris, you were right at the beginning of the season. Peyton Thorne is awful. There's no other way to.
Chris might be right. You've been right quite a bit. He called it Joe Milton. Hey, Steve, he called it Joe Milton situation. He called it Peyton Thorne situation.
He cost them opportunities to get points early in that football game. He's bad.
He's bad.
He's really bad at quarterback play.
What's so funny about that is Saturday morning before that game, I was actually on High Top Sports morning show before the games kick off, and I was with Jake Crane, who does Crane and Company, big time Auburn guy, and we were talking about Thorne, and he was just like, it's been tough. He's playing scared. You should have heard him. He's ready to see a different quarterback as well from the sounds of it. So I'm interested to see what Auburn does going forward.
I mean, think about it. For me, and I hate to really bring up his name, especially with this situation that's going on with him, but for me, it was like Mel Tucker brought in this wagon that was just, chumming along, and then all of a sudden, one of the wagon wheels just fell off, right? And he tried to put a cinder block and was like, hey, we can keep moving. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't slow yourself down. He went in there and fixed the problem, but he fixed it. It was a temporary fix. Peyton Thorne's just not the answer, and he wasn't the answer for Hugh Freeze.
But that kid played really good football on an 11-win Michigan State.
He played really good.
He played decent football up there. Was gaudy numbers. Hugh Freeze would have been better off telling Spencer Sanders, "Hey, don't do what you're doing right now. Come on, let's go ahead and try this out." He would have been better off getting Spencer Sanders.
He'd have been a lot better off with Spencer.
That is true. That's kind of sad. I mean,
I will say this though. I always question the fit of Peyton Thorne in a Hugh Freeze offense.
Yeah,
I would question that from day one. I mean, that wasn't a good fit, and I think Hugh, again, after he saw what he didn't have in the spring, was like, all right, what's there in the portal? Oh, there's this guy that threw for hell of yards and touchdowns at Michigan State and had an 11-win year. Sure, come on aboard. I think that's kind of the situation he was in. Hugh, you got to give Hugh till next year to actually get a trigger man that can do what he wants to do offensively. Peyton Thorne doesn't even that's not even his skill set. That's not even the type of offense he should be in.
Can Can I just ask a question to the panel right now? Specifically, Ty. I think Ty would be able to key in on this one. Is the 5-star quarterback that they have in their recruiting class right now, is he the answer?
Oh, who's there?
I thought I thought the kid was a
I
5-star. He may not be.
Well,
I don't think he's maybe composite or whatnot, but I know they had a quarterback in their class
that's a
that
5-star.
everybody's really high on.
This
Is
my
he
thing about-
2024?
Yeah, I think so.
So,
Right,
all right,
check
so this is my thing about 5-star quarterbacks coming in, right?
Yeah.
Is when you're relying on the guy to be the savior from day one. Hey, this is a Texas fan that's saying this because we've had to rely on guys that were not 5-stars to be the quarterback and save the team day one. It's not a good look for you. It's not going to be what you think it is, right? It's going to be all the hoopla. The fans are going to want it, of course, right? Because he's the newest, shiniest toy, but it's not the best thing for the program
He gonna
unless
get
you
some
got
from
some
the portal.
transcendent quarterback. Yep, it's got to be.
He's gonna have to get some, and there'll be guys in the portal. There's gonna
Yeah.
be some good quarterbacks in the portal.
Yeah.
You wait, Hugh. You'll be able to pick one.
Did
Yeah,
you find
they-
it, Ty?
Yeah, I'm looking at him right now. I'm watching him. He's good, but I very much will agree with what both Nick and Steven said. Especially in this offense, the last thing you want to do if you're Hugh Freeze is have any waiting. I mean, y'all saw that interview, right?
Yeah.
Where he was talking and he's like, oh, well, I need time. How long did it take Kirby before he got to a national championship? And the guy was like, 2 seasons. And Hugh goes, no, that's not right. You got to fact check that. That's not correct. And they were like, no, Hugh, that's correct. Took him 2 seasons. He doesn't want to sit and wait. I don't think that he's going to gamble on a true freshman quarterback unless that true freshman quarterback is exceptional. And the kid looks very talented, but I think it's far more likely that he uses the transfer portal because I think
Exactly.
you're going to have somebody.
It's going to be a lot of
need-
quarterbacks in that portal this year. It's going to be a lot of
You need-
quarterbacks in that portal.
I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Hugh Freeze kind of like Venables did, kind of a pretty good size
A bridge.
Yeah.
You need a bridge quarterback, though, Chris. And this is something else. I brought this up Saturday night after the Texas game, and I want to reiterate this to this audience as well. Folks, with these recruits, everybody talks about timeline in college. One of the reasons why there's a short timeline, whether for any coach, Hugh Freeze already, you can tell the sense of urgency that Ty just talked about in his voice. Folks, if you get a top tier player, and I think it hit a lot of you when I broke it down like this on Saturday, so I'm gonna do it again. You don't have that long with the player. You get them for like 2 or 3 years. Let's say they redshirt, maybe it takes them a year to get on the field. If they're that good, if they're as good as you think they're gonna be in terms of a first or second round pick, you really only got them for another 2 years. That's it, and they're gone. So you have to figure out how to manipulate the portal and get that talent in there and get people humming quickly. We were talking about Bijan Robinson on our show.
That was
Bijan only
missing.
played 31 games as a Texas Longhorn.
That was
That's it. He's
That's
gone.
malpractice.
Facts.
By the end of his second year in Atlanta, if he's healthy and plays every game, he's already going to have more games in an Atlanta Falcons uniform than he would have ever had as a Texas Longhorn. You do not have that much time. So this whole trying to be patient and all this type of stuff, when you get a top tier guy, y'all need to win quick. There's no waiting. Tennessee looking at Nico right now. After this year, if now depending on what happened, Nico's 2 years away from being draft eligible.
Mhm.
That's what, 24, 25 games?
Yeah.
26 games, the Big 12 goal. It's not a lot of time. So please keep that in mind. That's why there is a sense of urgency in this.
I agree with that because I think that happens 2 ways. Also, another perfect example is Marvin Harrison. As great as he is, he's not having in my opinion, he's not having that true impact that you thought he would have. Everybody, all eyes are on him, so you only have so much shelf life with that guy. And a lot of these top guys, you see them have a Leonard Fournette type year, and then boom, ankle injury. I'm sitting down, I'm doing this. You got to go ahead and got to play your best players, man. Plus, best players gonna play.
Yeah, that's true. I just think it's a little different at the quarterback position.
Yeah,
It's a lot more learning to do at that position
yeah,
than it is
that's fair.
at like as a running back. If you're running back and pass protect as a freshman, he's going to see the field early.
Yep.
Quarterback, boy, you got to dumb down. His floor has to be so exceptional and so high to where he comes in and is ready to open the playbook or you're going to have a dumbed down version of your system if you have a true freshman quarterback.
It's just, man, you just think about it.
For the most part.
What Hugh Freeze was able to do over there at Liberty with that quarterback, I thought that was a great job. That kid had talent. He just needed somebody to bring it out of him. And then, for better or for worse, however you feel about him, Hugh Freeze did his damn thing with Chad Kelly. I mean,
he did.
Yeah,
he did.
8 with Chad Kelly. 8.
Yeah, he ate. Hey guys, we've been on this damn
quarterback
topic for too damn
timelines.
long. Yeah.
Quarterback timelines are a little different. We compared to every. I agree with Nino because you have to be very, very delicate. You can only play one quarterback at a time.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about every other position on the roster. This definitely applies.
Yeah, if
right?
they can go, they can go. You know what I'm saying?
You do not have that much time with these players.
That's true. All right, guys, we talked enough about A&M, and Auburn. But congrats to A&M for winning their game. Sad for Connor Weigman, man. Prayers up to the dude. Hope he has a speedy recovery. But let's get into probably one of Ty's favorite topics for today. We're going to talk about Alabama and Ole Miss and the bounce back that Alabama had. Alabama inserted, Jalen Milroe back into the starting lineup, which they probably should have never taken him out of the starting lineup in the first place. But look, they had a slow start to that game, but they piled it on there in the second half. Jalen Milroe looked like he had pretty much command of that offense. Tommy Rees caught a little bit better game plan. Folks, I think the one thing that I was a little bit still a little bit worried about with Bama is Jace ran exceptional. Everybody else, not so much. And it's still to the point where I'm not seeing the Alabama running game. I'm so used to seeing an Alabama run game just be so dominant, and it's just not there yet, right? So I know it's a very young, line, true freshman left tackle, sophomore left guard. I get it. I'm just so used to seeing Bama just blow people off the line, and I didn't see a lot of that this weekend for the most part, but it is what it is. But Ty, how about your thoughts, man?
Yeah, the Alabama running game, it's getting there. Jace McClellan had his game, and it was Roydell Williams the week before. Roydell really in the second half got almost 100 yards alone in the second half the week before. Jace McClellan really coming this week. And we kind of saw a tale of two halves. We kind of saw where some of the frustrations lie in this Alabama offense, where the first half, Alabama was driving the ball, and you had a turnover that you just can't have, especially as you're going down the stretch against an LSU. You can't throw that interception against an LSU because they're not going to be giving you any other opportunities. But then you saw Alabama come out of the half, and they were a more confident team. And I think a lot of that has to do with Jalen Milroe being told he is the guy. He can now go out there and afford to make a mistake without having to look over his shoulder and think Ty Simpson's going to be coming in, or God forbid Tyler Buckner's going to be coming in. I mean, guys, I'd rather run Wildcat than Tyler Buckner make an appearance again, if I'm being 100% honest. But I do really think that was a very big positive, right? And honestly, that type of interception, that's why you play him against USF, to allow him to make that throw against USF. Jalen Milroe needs to be allowed to make mistakes, and that's why I think it was such a travesty you didn't play him against USF, because the more ball he plays, the better he's going to be getting. And you really started to see that in the second half, where he's actually in command of this offense, and Tommy Rees looks like he's found something that Milroe's comfortable with, and they really were able to expand upon that successfully in the second half. But guys, his deep ball, I think
beautiful.
His deep ball is the third best in all of college football right now.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's wild how accurate he is with the deep ball. But I'm very excited. Alabama plays Mississippi State this weekend, and Mississippi State's been sleepwalking through a lot, but they came alive this past weekend. They almost had a receiver, slot receiver. Griffin went for 256. Will Rogers threw for 458. So excited for that test. The one thing I will say before I hand it off, this Bama defense is something serious.
They are.
The Bama defense is legit.
Hey, I have a question for Ty real quick, and then y'all can pass it off. Let Jay in here. Why is the game at 8 p.m.?
I have no idea.
Like that's kind of I don't know. It's just kind of
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea. That is odd.
Hey guys, I want to address this one comment, from David Wood. He said Milroe is farther along than Hurts was at the same time. I beg to differ. Jalen Hurts was the SEC Freshman of the Year, his true freshman year in college. Took his team to a national championship game. Was literally
One play away.
He was one play away from winning a championship. If there wasn't this dude named Deshaun Watson, who's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL right now, with $238 million guaranteed, on the other side of that field with Mike Williams, who was a stud too in college. If it wasn't for those two across from him, Jalen Hurts has a championship as a true freshman leading the Crimson Tide. So I got to really
put up
disagree with this
They put up what 43 or 45 on Clemson.
Yeah,
As a true freshman, like Deshaun Watson came out like you can't ask for.
I got to disagree with this statement. I'm sorry, brother.
I honestly, I don't know, David, but I honestly think I've seen this a lot. You know, I'm glad you guys are addressing it. I think a lot of people think that Jalen Milroe is a true freshman. I don't think they realize
Jalen Milroe,
that
this is his third year in college, folks.
2 years. He's been his third year in college.
He's a junior in college, redshirt sophomore in Alabama, folks. This is his third year in the program. Jalen Hurts' third year in the program. He was graduating from Alabama and on his way to Oklahoma. Okay.
So, I kind of, let me jump in on that. And I see where David's coming from with that. And I say that for this reason. I'm looking at this Alabama team, Jalen Hurts freshman year. These are the numbers that Hurts did. 2,700 yards passing, 954 yards rushing, while also having a Damian Harris run for 1,000 yards, Bo Scarborough run for 812 yards, and a Josh Jacobs run for 500 yards. I get kind of where he's trying to go with that, but at the same time, Jalen Hurts did this as a freshman. Like, this team was built on the run game, and Hurts was just doing to make sure his job was to not F it up. And that was basically what he was there for.
He was actually winning games for them. He was winning games for Alabama as a true freshman. If folks don't know how hard that is at the most prestigious college football program in the history, for you to be a true freshman and come in and do those things. He was an early enrollee, and I remember hearing all of the chatter when everybody was saying, hey, we got this kid who's on the scout team who is a freaking monster. His name is Jalen Hurts. He's going to be that guy. Like, he's going to be that guy. And this kid didn't even go to prom yet.
Right. I remember telling buddies after his freshman year, I was like, he's an NFL caliber quarterback. Just the way that he can assess the field and the patience he has that most don't have at that age, he did it. But at the same time, this team, it feels like this year's Alabama team, and Ty, correct me if I'm wrong, that the goal is to lean in on the run game and let the quarterbacks kind of find their way throughout the year. Because looking at this team here that Hurts had, that's 3,000 rushing yards. That's 3,000 rushing yards in a flipping season. Yeah. Like, that's absurd numbers to even think about. 3,000 yards. They almost had 3,000-yard rushers. Like, that tells you everything you need to know about what they were planning. So, in comparison to Milroe, it feels like Bama's trying to do that, but it's hard to be successful doing that if your line isn't just running everybody over. Like, the line has to be making those holes, making things difficult for other teams. They've got to be muscling everybody. And they're not muscling everybody. Now, they're winning enough at the line, but they're not winning more. They should be winning way more than they are if they want to be able to have this power run game, which is my point, which I think is where David Wood is trying to kind of point out. But at the same time, Hurts was absurd as a freshman.
Absurd. Even his mentality. I mean, you could just look at him and know that he was going to will a win or two this season.
Right.
You know, he didn't make the mistakes. Jalen was just he was cut from a different cloth. You know, and he's just different. And it's showing on Sundays now, right? He was different, right.
Like I said, I kind of see where it's going.
Better this week.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
in pass pro, they graded it an 89, which I was like, oh yeah,
wow, pretty darn good against Ole Miss.
Well, Ole Miss came into the game with 10 sacks. And
that's what I mean.
They were generating sacks, and that's something I was like, okay, well, we're going to see them try and get to Milroe. They've been able to do it, and Bama's offensive line run blocking still wasn't what I wanted to be, no doubt about it. But the pass blocking was much better, but they got the tight ends much more involved in the pass blocking as well.
Which that's what I'm waiting to see when y'all start really like leaning heavy in on the tight ends. I think that the run game will start to come back.
Yeah, it is short for sure. Chris, Steven, how about you guys?
I'll say this right here. My whole thoughts going into the game, watching the game and leaving the game was, well, the unexpected was expected. I didn't know what the hell Pete Golding was going to do because I was like, dude, it's not that hard. I mean, make him read, make him go through all his progression. Just make him do it. Don't do anything crazy.
It is that hard.
Third
Don't
and
do-
But
Golden.
it is that hard.
And you sit there just saying, just base defense. You don't even have to do anything. Just do this basic. And I'm just like, I still see some of the stuff he wants to do, the exotic formations, all the rest of the stuff, and try to give him all this eye candy. And it's like, okay, but you know that they're just trying to get the simple read for him anyways. But you still go in there and do that, and I don't know. It's just a mess. Lane Kiffin, for whatever it's worth, this is one of the worst games I saw from a Lane Kiffin offense, to be honest with you. I don't know if it's Jackson Dart or if it was Kiffin just not doing his normal thing, but I don't know. This game was just weird for Ole Miss to me in a lot of ways. They came out, started hot, but then Alabama, there was no doubt in the second quarter. It was just like chip. Okay, now we're in a rhythm. Once Alabama got in a rhythm, they established themselves. It was pretty much done. There was no doubt in my mind. But yeah, I mean, Golding is just, I don't know, as good as a defensive coordinator he can be at times, as great as he can be, there's always that one game that you're just like, and then I'll pass it to Steve.
Steve, how about you, dude?
I mean, if you want to, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, Chris, with Golding. They only gave up 24 points.
I know.
I mean,
at Alabama.
Like they gave up 9 points. It was 9-7 at halftime or whatever the score was. Like,
Yeah.
or 7-6 at halftime. I mean, granted, there was some the end zone interception and things that were happening that weren't indicative of a team that only had 6 points. But overall, I don't know if I'm an Ole Miss fan, I'm like, this is the game. I'm good. This is the game where I'm gonna assess Pete Golding and all that. Like, I don't know, me personally.
But 24 points to an offense that's trying to get its training wheels off, that's my only thing.
If I may, this defense ranks as a top 30 defense right now in pass and rush defense.
Yep.
The Ole Miss
Ole
defense.
Miss?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if here are my takeaways, because I was kind of piggybacking on what Chris just said. If I'm Bama, I'm like, look, one thing I'm excited about is they unleashed Jalen Hale.
Yes.
That was cool.
Oh man, don't talk about Jalen Hill.
I know. As a Texas fan, it sucked.
It hurts my heart.
As a Texas fan, it hurt. But Nino's
cry
like
about that
me.
one.
You start to fall in love with the kids in the recruiting process, and you just, at the point, you just like the kid so much, you just want to see him win, regardless of where he goes. And Jalen Hale is one of those kids for me. So it was really cool to see Jalen Hale unleash and making big plays for you guys. I was waiting because he's one of those kids where it was a question of when, not if. And so for him to come in this game and make his presence felt was impressive to me. The other thing is, I'm going to go to the Alabama defense. Dallas Turner, Chris Braswell, y'all made Jackson Dart, that whole Jackson Dart running all over the place thing, they shut that shit down, okay? The way that they were controlling the edges, the way that Braswell especially, it's not going to show up on the stat sheet, but there's a lot of stuff that he does. He's very versatile. And I thought, Judkins, we already talked about Judkins' health. So I don't know if that's a reason why he only had 56 yards rushing or what. But Jackson Dart was the guy that they were really keying in as the leading rusher, a guy that has been running all over the place. He only had 6 yards on the ground. Now, some of that is sack yardage too, right? We got to factor that in there. But he was not his normal productive carrying the Ole Miss ground. They made Ole Miss one-dimensional offensively. And I give a lot of credit. Dallas Turner had a sack in that game where he ran damn near across the whole field. At least the brother looked like he ran a 4.3 and walked down. Ty knows what I'm talking about. And
I know the exact play. Because the
That's
crazy
an NFL play, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
and the wild thing about that sack is Jackson Dart almost got his soul taken because the sack you're talking about, Chris Braswell was coming in front of his face and Dallas Turner from behind him, and they almost hit him at the exact same time going high-low. And I said a quick prayer for the man because I just did not know what his health status would be after that.
The only other thing I want to add with Milroe is decision-making will come with reps.
100%.
One thing that is a red flag to me, though, is the pocket presence. He bails out of clean pockets like nobody's business for no reason. It's almost as if there's a clock in his head, and he's like, oh, I still have the ball. And instead of just continuing to work, he's like, I got to go. I got to go somewhere. I got to get out of here. The play is dead. And it's like, dude, you're fine. There's nobody in your face. And he will literally scramble into pressure. It's
Exactly.
the most. I'm like, dude, just stay in the pocket. You're fine. I'm glad Tommy added some design runs. I saw y'all mix in
Thank
some
God.
QB.
Kind of calmed him down a little bit. It did kind of calm him down a little bit.
I swear to God, if we get in a 1st and goal from the 1 yard line
Just quarterback sneak it, please.
and we go from the shotgun again, I will personally drive to Tuscaloosa and pack the U-Haul up my damn self. I lost my mind. We have
ain't gonna do
Jalen
it.
Milroe. And we're in the shotgun for what? For what reason?
Put him underneath center and just have his running backs push him in like Philly does with Jalen Hurts every game. But look, I want to address this comment from Frightened True. Frightened True's my boy, man. But look, he said that Texas passed on Hill. That is not true. No. First of all, and then he goes, Cook was the choice. That's so cap. Caparoni. Caparoni. That is Caparoni.
My boy.
Hey, look here, man. First off, Truth, they played 2 different positions at wide
Don't be
receiver.
like that, FP.
I know. Come on, man. Hey, Jalen Hill is the perfect boundary receiver in Steve Sarkisian's offense, and Cook is the perfect field guy or slot guy. There are 2 separate positions. Look, we wanted Jalen Hill. Believe that.
Yeah, it wasn't an either or. It wasn't an either or recruitment.
Believe that.
Trust
We
me.
wanted Jalen Hill. You see everything that we got doing with Isaiah Nair and A.D. Mitchell, like that was going to be Jalen Hill in this offense. So
Right.
Guys, if I may, I think there's more important topics to talk about. But
here you go.
Coming from this Ole Miss game, there's a lot of smoke going on at Ole Miss right now.
We're talking about an Alabama receiver that played in the Ole Miss game, brother.
I know, but it's starting to be a little bit.
Here we go.
Here we go.
All right.
Next game. Let's talk LSU versus Arkansas. LSU wins 34-31. We saw a Denver Harris sighting. He actually played pretty well, about 6 tackles in this game. Jaden Daniels, had a pretty good game as well. KJ Jefferson, they duked it out. This game was very close. One thing that I was shocked about was Arkansas didn't have Rocket in the game, and they still had this game very close. Man, I cannot wait to see that offense at full throttle. I don't know if we're going to see it this year. Is Rocket ever coming back, folks? I mean, is he gone for the first 6 games? Is he gone for the season? Like, what is going on here? Because KJ Jefferson is really out there just making it happen by himself, and they still had that game within 3 points. What do you guys' thoughts on that?
Man, there's an article I was just about to read. Maybe Rocket Sanders. There have been encouraging signs in practice that he could be ready to return for the Aggies this weekend. I wouldn't hold your breath, though. This is, I think, what you get from a Sam Pittman team.
Tough.
They're not going to quit, man. And, that's what I like about Pittman. And if you're an Arkansas fan, I mean, you gotta like your head coach because there is just this attitude to the Arkansas Razorbacks where it's like, okay, even if you're a more talented team, we're going to keep getting right back up. I don't know if y'all watch South Park, but it was like the episode where Randy fights Bat Dad. LSU was Bat Dad, right? And they kept just kicking the crap out of Randy, but Randy kept getting back up because he didn't hear no bell. And look, I think there's a real chance Arkansas takes down Texas A&M this weekend.
Yeah.
Like, even
Yeah.
if they don't have Rocket Sanders, I think that's a very real possibility. They get the job done. We started off saying earlier, all wins are better than losses. Like, a win is the most important thing. But there are some losses where you look at, I know it's not an SEC team, but Clemson, for instance, I thought Clemson played the best they've played all season in a loss, right? So I'm not saying that it's good they lost, but you do think that they may have found something. Same can be said for Arkansas. They played a really good game of football in a loss. And even though you want to win, it does give me faith that they can take it to Texas A&M.
Exactly. Jay, how about you, man? What is going on, Jay?
What's going on?
I'm trying to figure out how to put it. I don't know. I'm a little mad at Arkansas right now.
How much money you lose?
We don't want to talk about that part.
Okay, now it's making more sense. Now this is making more sense.
But this 10-win season is slowly slipping away from me right now. And I'm not very happy about this. The BYU piece, the BYU loss really just grinded my gears with them. We're on a 2-game losing skid, right? Like LSU, I anticipated. I also anticipated potentially Alabama. But BYU come to your crib and slapped you around? BYU, a team that was anticipated to win no more than 5 games this season, which they probably still only win 5 games this season. But y'all let them show up there in Fayetteville and give you some backhands.
Are you surprised by that? BYU does that all the time.
Well, I mean, yeah, they do. But I had Arkansas winning 10 wins this season. And that has bothered me.
That's wild.
I'm still here with the mindset that they flipping 10 wins. That's all I got to say. They better beat A&M. That's all I got to say. They better beat A&M. They ain't got no quarterback. They better win this game. I'll be back.
Don't be hating on Max Johnson like that.
That was so funny, man.
Jay didn't have the words to say it. Hey, and BYU is a much better team than I think Jay's giving them credit for. I think they're going to be pretty good. I'm going to say pretty good, but they got 3 wins already. They're going to win more than 5 games
all year.
You know? Yeah. So look, man.
Damn, Steven. Look, turn to the side. Turn to the side, Steven.
Stop it.
What?
Steven, turn to the side.
What?
No, turn to the side fully. I want to see the lines. Hey, man. My boy crispy right now. You know what I'm saying? He's down in the stress right now. My God. I can't even focus right now. That haircut sharp, boy.
Oh man, but look, honestly, I do feel bad for KJ Jefferson because I thought this was a year that they had the opportunity.
Nick, if I may, the only comment I really want to make on this is it's sad. It's sad to say this, honestly. This is the best football that we've seen from KJ Jefferson because, in my opinion, his game is complete now. I think that he's playing about as best as he can with limited weapons. That's my honest opinion about it.
Yeah. Steve and Ty, how about you guys? Anything?
Well, here's my takeaway. You guys, we had a lot of talk on here about the top quarterbacks from the SEC or the SEC quarterback rankings, and Jaden Daniels is responding to that of why he deserved to be number 1. Or was he number 1 or number 2? It was either him or KJ. They were back and forth, depending on what list you had. I think the one we looked at, which was 247, if I'm not mistaken, I think they had Jaden at 1 and KJ at 2.
Yeah,
but,
I think so.
But Jaden's last 2 football games, Mississippi State, basically to start conference play, right? Mississippi State, Arkansas. it's remarkable. And when you look at the wide receiver talent at LSU, he is starting to really take advantage of the talent there, because now Malik Neighbors didn't just continue to get off, who got off again, but Brian Thomas Jr., another guy I've been waiting for, big body receiver, very fast. He's been there for some years. And he's the guy that you always see him in the spring game or in practice videos, and you're like, who the hell is that guy? He looks like T.O. And it's like you never see him on the field. They don't actually unleash the guy, but they actually unleashed him against Arkansas. And Brian Thomas, I think he had 8 catches for a $130 or $135 and 2 touchdowns in this Arkansas game, in conjunction with the production that Malik Neighbors is giving you. You know, the weapons they have at tight end, the other guys, the younger guys they have in the receiving room. Just seeing him take advantage of those weapons, but still utilizing his legs, he's showing y'all why he deserved to be QB1 in the SEC. That's my takeaway from this.
Yep.
Yeah, you remember earlier after that Texas game where I said, do you feel like if you're an Alabama fan, looking at the rest of the SEC, there's another team that you fear as much as Texas? At the time, the answer was no, right? Coming immediately after that Texas game, LSU had taken the loss to Florida State. We didn't quite know who they are. Logan Diggs is getting it together, guys. Just shy of 100 yards this week, but do you want to know the constant I'm noticing? That passing game in Jaden Daniels, to Steven's point, he has been automatic. Like, he's playing as good as any quarterback in the nation the previous 2 weeks, not named Michael Penix, in my opinion, because I think Penix is playing just unbelievable football right now.
And Cameron Ward.
Penix is unconscious.
Cameron Ward, as well. Cameron Ward is doing ridiculous. The Pac-12 quarterback play right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Stupid. It's not even fair.
It's stupid, man.
It's actually wild. I thought Steven summed it up great. Jaden Daniels is showing he is quarterback 1 in the SEC, but I will give Spencer Rattler some love, too. He's having an amazing year.
Best quarterback in the SEC.
Let me jump in on that, and that's kind of been my statement around LSU and Jaden Daniels. We talked about this on Bleacher Report and mentioned how Brian Kelly seems to start things off very slow and very clunky, and then all of a sudden it goes up.
Just heats up.
Jaden Daniels was the reason why I said that Florida State loss did not scare me off of them. He's playing like he's the best quarterback in the conference. Spencer's putting up some numbers, but he hasn't have a line that's going to be able to help him win enough games. He's going to die eventually on the field. Daniels is the best.
Can somebody please tell Jay to stop talking about quarterbacks in the SEC? Because I don't want to hear
this
that.
guy.
Yeah,
Nobody cares what you want.
Yeah.
No one cares what you want. No
Listen.
one cares what you want. Actually, I'm about to boot you out of here anyway, so it don't matter. So my point, Jaden Daniels is playing just as Steven and Ty said. He's the best quarterback in the conference, period, right now.
So that kind of brings us to the next topic, folks. We're talking about the best quarterbacks in the conference. Jay and Ty brought up, Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler had one hell of a game against Mississippi State. They won 37-30. Spencer Rattler right now, folks, is passing for 74% completion percentage so far this year. He's looking amazing right now. I think Jay actually said it too, best, that if Spencer has an offensive line, I think we're talking a lot different about the way we perceive him and who is the best quarterback in this conference. Spencer's he's killing it right now. But look, they did win 37, to 30 against Mississippi State. Mississippi State finally unleashed Will Rogers. He threw for 480 yards, almost 500 yards. He had a hell of a game, and so it's finally kind of good to see him get back into his kind of mental element there. But look, they took the L. I was surprised that they gave up 37 points to South Carolina, especially with the head coach being so, he's a great guy when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. But Kevin Barber had that offense humming, and I was really happy to see that for Will Rogers. But look, Spencer did his thing, folks. He might be the best guy in the SEC when it comes to quarterbacks. What are your thoughts, Chris?
Man, I think he's playing great football right now. I mean, hey, I give Jay that point. His offensive line is terrible. We've all said that from day one. It's just the fact that with Spencer, you're seeing his best football. You're seeing him being comfortable at each level, just not on the rollouts. Um, they have some weapons there. Beamer does a great job. He's one of the more underrated coaches in this game, in my opinion. They just don't have enough. But for me, I think that I'm not going to say by a mile, because I think it could, just like that, it could switch. I know people are putting in the comments, Cook down up there at Missouri is having a pretty good year. I mean, there's other quarterbacks around me. Jackson Dart was off to a really good start as well. I'm not going to say it's by a mile, but I definitely think that he's the best right now. And I'm eager to see how consistent can Jaden Daniels be. Does he regress back to the FSU game, or does he continue on this trend that he's on? Because these past 2 games he's been damn good, but I think Rattler right now is the best.
Well, that's why the must-see game of the weekend that I don't think anybody is talking about, it's that Tennessee-South Carolina game.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a game that if you're not keyed in on, quite frankly, I don't know what you're doing. That's going to be awesome. And I already know Jay and Chris, I can't wait to hear the back and forth from you two about the quarterback situation in that game, because Milton, Jay, he's looking kind of unfamiliar right now. As they would say, game recognized game. And you're looking kind of unfamiliar right now. What are you thinking about Milton at Tennessee?
I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know. I don't. He's got a rocket, and it doesn't seem like the processing is there to get the ball out quicker. In the games that I watched, he's starting to use his legs more now. That was the one thing I appreciated in the last game, but they played the school of the blind, so it was one of those games where you expect him to be able to do that. But he's starting to use his legs, and that's like, to me, use this dude.
Got to
like,
put a little bit more respect on UTSA than that, brother.
Run that man more like Cam Newton. Just run him. That's all I
Joe
ask.
Milton?
Hold on, we
Just
got a
run
little
'em.
echo. Hey, Steve,
I
I
do.
think it's yours. All right.
That better?
Yeah, it's better.
There we go. Run that man like Cam Newton. He's about as big as him. He ain't as fast, so he's as big as him. Just run. Just let him run people over. And let's go from there.
Well, I'll tell you this right here. I had a bone to pick with Tommy Reese for that for that goal line stance. Y'all did the same thing with the quarterback who's 6'5"
Yeah.
on a
was
4th
Steven.
and 1 from the shotgun. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? You have a tower as a quarterback.
That
Exactly.
bandwidth, I guess that bandwidth is bouncing off of Steven's crispy ass edge right now. You know what I'm saying?
I had to,
They're giving that static, you know what I'm saying? Static shot. Here's what I have to say, okay? It must be opposite day. We say run this man like Cam Newton. Saying I don't know. I mean, like it just feels like, you know, Jay, I might as well go to Sonic and try to order a salad right now. You don't do that. All right. That man's a bum. All right. He's a bum. I told you that. I told you to stay away from him. Tennessee, no, not this year. No. Nico, I'll give you that. I can see that. Joe Milton, no, stay away from that. Don't buy any stock in that. It's done.
This guy.
It's over. It's done.
Well, we'll find out this weekend, won't we?
It's gonna be a hell of a game, folks. It's gonna be a hell of a game. You know, but look, just talking about the games that are coming up this week, man. Let's go ahead and take a look at the previews here this week. Hey, Steven, that's your mic, bro. I think that's your mic, Steven.
Yeah, guys, I need to try to figure out what's going on if I'm gonna fix it. So I'm trying to test a few things. So bear with me. I
Gotcha.
apologize.
Gotcha. So, I think the first game I want to talk about, man, is let's talk about Texas A&M versus Arkansas. You know, so Texas A&M versus Arkansas. If Arkansas doesn't run away with this game, then I'm going to be like Jay next week because they're going to be playing against Max Johnson. You know, Texas A&M's anemic offense. Their offense looks like poo right now. So if Arkansas can't handle business, especially just as well as they played against LSU this week, and I think LSU is probably, if I'm looking at the SEC West, if they're not the best team in the West, they're the second best team in the West, but to me, I think they're the best team in the West right now. Arkansas should steamroll Texas A&M. That's just my 2 cents on that one. What are your thoughts on that one, Ty?
Yeah, look, Arkansas should steamroll Texas A&M. I think the only thing I'm looking at in this game, though, is can Arkansas keep KJ Jefferson upright? I mean, guys, they've given up 8 sacks in the previous 2 games. I mean, that's to BYU included. Now, I very much will agree with Steven, and I think this is one of the things I appreciate because Steven has echoed this sentiment that I've said. BYU will catch you.
They will.
Like, the fact that people are surprised BYU caught somebody, I'm surprised. Like, they're good to catch somebody any given year. It's one thing getting caught by BYU, and it's another thing showing that your offensive line is becoming a trend. And I know all about that as an Alabama fan this year, where your offensive line is a negative trend. Let me tell you what, I've seen it for 2 straight years now. And that's what we're looking at for Arkansas. So should Arkansas win this game? Yes, I am going to be picking Arkansas to win this game. But they've given up 8 sacks in 2 games. And at a certain point, guys, this defensive front for Texas A&M, they got to show up, right? Yeah. Like, they got to show up and be the unit we think they're going to be. They're just too talented. And now they don't have their starting quarterback. What better time for them to show up than this weekend?
Chris, Steven, how about you guys? How about you, Chris?
Hey, look, honestly, I'm gonna go with Texas A&M in this game. I think they get it done. I think it's a possession battle for me. I think that at the end of the day, I just tend to trust.
Don't say Jimbo.
No, Petrino. I trust Petrino more. I think that he'll have a decent game plan for this game. Like I said earlier, it's a toss-up to me, but my gut feeling is telling me Texas A&M will pull it out. I think that Evan Stewart and the guys get loose. I think that they just put it together and they end up winning this game because Arkansas, like I said, Arkansas could start hot, but I just don't know, man. It's everything revolves around KJ Jefferson as it should, but just way too much for me. I mean, he's a one-man band out there right now, and he's doing it all. And I don't know. It's really going to come down to that Arkansas defense for me. Can they be dominant in this game? But I think Texas A&M is going to be too much. I have them by 10.
Steven, how about you, man?
I mean, this game has traditionally been very, very close. And there's been a lot of big, massive swing plays. I mean, we remember KJ doing too much last year in the red area, and they take the fumble. A&M takes the fumble back, 97 yards for a touchdown, and breaks the whole game open. I look at Max and what he's going to be asked to do offensively, and now that A&M can run the ball a little bit, I'm curious to see if that's like, hey, take care of this, and they kind of resort back a little to their offense last year. Do they stay aggressive and try to take shots downfield like we saw A&M do last week when Max came into the game? And it kind of seemed like, hey, whether Connor's in here or not, we're going to continue to be aggressive. That right there is the key for me because I know what I'm going to get from Arkansas. To what Ty spoke on earlier with Sam Pittman and their fight, they're actually going to come into this game feeling like, all right, we control, we're a better football team than, we've gotten past the BYU loss. We fought our asses off in Death Valley when nobody believed in us and maybe people thought we were going to get blown out. We're going to come into Arlington into a rivalry game and win one and really establish momentum. So I'm really curious to see how it plays out in that regard. I'm not ready to pick a winner yet between those two. I'm still kind of going back and forth on it, but I think a lot of it is going to depend on Max Johnson taking care of the football. And he's shown he can do that, but he may be asked to win a football game. Depends on how things go.
That's probably the best take of the night, honestly. I probably was a bit premature in my pick too, but I'll say I still stand by Texas A&M.
Yeah, most definitely. All right, guys. Next game, man, I want to talk about is how about LSU Ole Miss? I think that's going to be an outstanding game. I think Ole Miss is going to have a little bit of bounce back. I don't think they're going to beat LSU. But I think them not having their offense showed the way that they thought that they were going to show against Alabama last week. I think that they're going to have the opportunity to do it against LSU because LSU's defense hasn't been that great this year. It just hasn't. Right. So I think Ole Miss is going to have some time to shine, man. So, so how about this, Chris? Let me know what you think about this game.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the comments. Say that game again. Which game?
LSU Ole Miss.
Oh, LSU all the way. I mean, you don't really know what you're gonna get from Ole Miss. This is the part of the season where they start hot, and then this is the part of the season where they kind of, quietly just start to hit that exit. This is LSU all day.
Yeah, I think so too. How about you, Ty?
Yeah, I think LSU takes this, but I'm really curious about this game, guys, because Ole Miss has the ability to test this LSU secondary. Now, I know that this Ole Miss passing attack isn't like the Ole Miss passing attack we've seen of old, but they've got two wide receivers who can get active. And I know I said it last week, they have got a lot of running backs, man. They got a lot of really talented running backs, from Judkins, who we know is nursing the injury, Bentley, very talented football player, and then Jackson Dart's going to get active as well. I'm going to pick LSU to win this game, but that's just because I think when I look at this game, I don't know what I'm going to get, not necessarily from Ole Miss. I don't know what I'm going to get from Pete Golding. And the reason why I say that, gentlemen, last year in a game where LSU barely beat Alabama, what did I say after that game that I was just chapped about? They didn't spy Jaden Daniels at all the whole game. And he would just take off for first down after first. Now, they have Sunteri Perkins over there at Ole Miss now, number 4, that linebacker, true freshman, and that kid is playing big boy football. I'm going to take LSU because of exactly what R. Jacob Woodyard just said down in the chat. He hit the nail on the head. The man sees through all.
It's personal.
Oh, man, it's hilarious.
He sees right through it. Yep.
He saw right through everything.
Yep. It's true.
All right, next game, man. We talked about this one. Let's talk about Bama versus Mississippi State. Look, this is a different offense here for Mississippi State. Bama kind of embarrassed Mississippi State last year, 30-6 last year. I think Will Rogers threw like 55 or 60 times that game. It was quite funny, to be honest with you. But different offensive scheme. The defense, for them to give up 37 points to South Carolina was kind of alarming for me. What does Tommy Rees do? I think that's going to be the biggest question here is how does he game plan to let Jalen Milroe be Jalen Milroe? If he allows him to have more design runs, get him outside the pocket throwing the ball. Like do some scramble drills, something, and get that man involved. Let him use his best asset, which is his legs, to get some instant offense for your team. If he can do that, I think they blow the doors off when it comes to Mississippi State. But, if he doesn't, he'll have another close game on his hands. What are your thoughts on this one, Steven?
I have Bama on this one. I mean, from a standpoint of Mississippi State, I don't care what Will Rogers showed last week. It's too little, too late for me, personally. They should have been. That should have got going earlier in the season. And shout out to Brandon Walker from Unnecessary Roughness, who said we y'all should ease up on us. Our coach died, and I don't know why y'all have all these expectations on us this year. So that's kind of where Mississippi State is starting to fall in the in the rankings. I think from a Bama perspective, you just want to build week over week with Milroe, right? In the run game and continue to stack up the wins and build that momentum. You're going to need it against some teams with a little bit more consistent firepower. But especially the reason why I say the Rodgers stuff and the way they've thrown it around, if Dallas Turner and Braswell and that defensive front are going to hunt the way they hunted, that's going to be an issue for Mississippi State. And I don't know how they're going to deal with that over 4 quarters. So I look at this game, it seems like Bama all the way through comfortably.
You know what's funny about that? Right now, I think Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner have 2 of the highest pass rush win rates in the nation. right now. I think of the list of top 10 pass rushers, both of them are, I think, within the top 7 of that list, if I'm not mistaken. They are winning at an alarming rate right now. But I'll tell you something else that happened in that Ole Miss game that I think is going to be equally impactful and will actually allow those exterior guys to feast as well. Number 96 came along, Tim Keenan. Now, we talked about this before the Texas game. One of the things Homer and I actually talked about a lot was that it was interesting that Alabama moved Jaheim Otis from defensive tackle to defensive end. Well, this is exactly why, ladies and gentlemen. It's because of Tim Keenan. They can put Tim Keenan and Jaheim Otis on the field at the same time. And Otis has that guy is freaky athletic, guys. Like he is moving like a defensive end would at almost 300 pounds. He is a really good player. But I think Tim Keenan is going to allow those exterior guys more opportunities because now you can't pull all your resources to the outside because of Tim Keenan's existence in the inside. Chris, you're going to appreciate this, that Mississippi State defense, they run a 3-3-5. And this is Jalen Milroe's first true road test because they stupidly didn't play him against USF. He hasn't had a road test this season. So now you get a road test against Mississippi State, which I'm actually really excited about because I'm not saying it's the most hostile environment in the SEC, but those cowbells are loud. And they're traveling to A&M next weekend. Now, I'm not saying I'm overlooking an opponent, but this is a winnable game for Alabama. They have been dominating Mississippi State. I love the preparation before A&M. Keys to victory on this one. That 3-3-5 defense is going to be interesting to see how they attack it with Jalen Milroe, just because you don't see it a lot. But I anticipate, like Nick said, like Steven said, you start with the run, you open it up, you get those safeties creeping forward. Alabama's got 3 wide receivers right now that'll beat you deep. Malik Benson, Jalen Hale, and Isaiah Bond is a straight-up track star. Like, he's getting behind defenses. On the defensive side, watch Malachi Moore in this game. If you're asking me who the defensive X factor for Alabama is going to be in this game, it's going to be Malachi Moore because of how Mississippi State is attacking using the slot wide receiver in this offense right now. Malachi Moore is going to be manned up with him the entire evening, and that's going to be so much fun.
Chris.
Okay, Ty, Sir Hayes, thank you for the in-depth analysis of basically everything. All I would say is just go back to the LSU game and watch what they were doing. Jaden Daniels is coming off of a couple of performances where you're just like, okay, he's reeling a little bit. Let's see if he can establish himself. Got a confidence boost in that game. Malik Neighbors had another, hey, I'm still here type of game. It was one of those things where you can attack the middle. You can attack anywhere that you want it on that 3-3-5. It's a soft 3-3-5. It's not the normal 3-3-5 that you've seen from their head coach. It was a head scratcher because those guys were playing so deep in the clouds, and you have guys just running simple routes, just a lot of intermediate. If you can work that, and then also another thing that you saw in the LSU game as well, Nick, you'll love this. They did a lot of design run. They had a bunch of run plays for Jaden Daniels. I mean, the game plan is very, very, very simple. You attack them on those edges, attack them in the middle, set a tight end there, give him the deep route, give him all the progression stuff that Ty was talking about earlier during his live cast or whatever, but give him a safety valve. Give him somebody sitting right there on a hitch or curl right there in the middle, somebody on a swing route. If he's smart enough, just tell him to check it down. Defensively, there really shouldn't be too much pushback. The same push that you saw LSU get with their defensive line, that pocket was collapsing an awful lot on Will Rogers that game. Whether or not he was getting sacked, he was getting hurried, he was getting pressured an awful lot. Game plan is simple: attack, attack, attack. It takes them a while to get going as well. Even though we know Will Rogers can sling it around, he's a good quarterback. It takes them a while. Bama big. I got Bama big this game.
Hey, I want to say this too, to the point, Chris, you hit on it, but don't overthink this if you're Alabama.
Yeah.
This is actually with the quarterback run against that defense, you don't have to just sit there and diagnose
exactly
the clouds and trying to get the layer of the ball in between people and all this. Like I know what I said earlier about bailing out of clean pockets. Well, damn it, this game's a
Not
little
this
different.
week.
Not this week. This week you can get 6 or 7 yards and
Every
just
play.
force them to bring those safeties up there. Force them to play football on the line of scrimmage. Force them to show their run fits.
This is
Monday.
yeah. Oh, Monday. Help for the show.
Yeah, I got the notification they should be delivered Monday.
This is a game, folks, man, that Alabama can really just out talent Mississippi State and just like Steven say, you can be very simple to win this game. You don't have to be exotic at all. Let your guys get some confidence. Jalen Milroe needs the confidence right now. Yes, he did get a win against Ole Miss. That was a ranked team, but he needs to start building more confidence in himself. And the only way to do that is to get him winning reps week in and week out against no kidding true Power 5 teams. So I think this is an opportunity where they can do some great things as well. So next game, folks. I want to talk about. Let's talk about USC and Tennessee. So South Carolina, Tennessee. Chris said this the best. He said Joe Milton is not that guy. He's been saying it for a year now. So Chris, I must just give you the field, man. Thanks for that. Look, Spencer's going to eat up that team. I just got a good feeling about this one. I wouldn't say Spencer's going to eat up that defense because their defense hasn't been playing that bad, but I think he's going to shine this game, and I don't have any trust in Joe Milton. I just don't. I don't at all. It's going to be a very good game, though. It's going to be a very good game. It's going to be very detailed when it comes to the offenses. I want to see how Spencer is going to dial up against that Tennessee defense. I got South Carolina winning this game. I just don't trust Joe Milton in that offense, which is weird to say because Josh Heupel always has his quarterbacks looking great, but for some reason Milton does not look anything but mid. How about you, Chris?
As much as I want to say I think South Carolina wins this game, it's really hard to say that simply because this is a prime opportunity for Joe Milton to really boost his confidence as a quarterback because that South Carolina defense give up a lot. Steven, I know you say that it give up a lot, man. I mean, I've seen them against better quarterbacks and some mid quarterbacks, and it's just I don't know. You don't know what you're going to
It's weird seeing you say a defensive comment about Joe Milton.
I didn't say anything defensive about Joe Milton. I'm just saying that
Chris, Joe Milton, #1 fan. You heard it here first.
There you go.
This is a game where Heupel could really, I don't know. It's just hard, man. It's hard to pick because
a dog or a bum, Chris?
Oh, he's a bum.
There you go. That's your answer.
So then what's the problem?
Make up your mind, Chris, as you told me earlier. Make up your mind.
Choose a side, Chris.
You guys have seen that South Carolina defense. Y'all know exactly what I'm trying to say. But I'll put it like this. If y'all want me to go ahead, I'll let them hang. I'll let them hang right now. South Carolina by 20. Go ahead.
How you go so far off?
Tell Jay. Y'all push me against the wall. I start swinging. Y'all already know.
Oh man, I just had to hit you with that since you hit me with it earlier in my stream. So this is what worries me, guys. Tennessee's generated 16 sacks on the season, and that South Carolina offensive line, it's just not.
It's porous.
Yeah, it's just not very good. Now, we all talk about Milton, and Milton is having a perplexing year, but can we talk about that wide receiving core as well? I've been dying to talk about that wide receiving core. They have no semblance of a dude who can stretch the field right now. Like, Brew McCoy is out there. He's a possession receiver for them, but they do not have Hyatt. And it shows, right? Like, Jalen Hyatt really added a layer to that offense that allowed them to just pin their ears back and say, no, we're just going to Madden spam the same play at you over and over and over again, and we're just going to bet that our guy is going to outrun your guy. And they were right a lot of the times. I think South Carolina wins this game, but I think this is going to be real ugly. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Yep. Steven.
I think this is going to be the game with Tennessee. It might be a get it back in blood game because Josh Heupel. I mean, if you're Josh Heupel, in all seriousness, you got to look at your men in the eyes and say, look, this is a squad that dropped 63 points on us and ruined our playoff chances, ruined us at the end of the last season, and embarrassed us. So now you get this game, night game, Neyland Stadium. I talked about the pass rush, and the other thing too, Tennessee's run game is they still have two real good running backs, right? And so South Carolina's propensity to give up yardage, Tennessee's willingness to run Joe Milton. I agree with y'all about the pass catching issue. There's no doubt about it. And then on top of that, on the other side, and I meant to bring this up when I was talking about Spencer Rattler, Xavier Leggett is making himself some NFL money.
Mm-hmm.
The dude is what, 6'3", 230? I mean, has South Carolina had a dude like that since what, Alshon?
Alshon, exactly who comes to mind.
Alshon Jeffrey, yeah, and he's about Alshon's size, and he's up there with. You think about the elite receiver play we're getting in the SEC this year, which we haven't talked about yet, but between him, Neighbors, Evan Stewart, guys that are putting up 100 yards every single week.
Yeah, he's leading the pack.
With highlight reel touchdowns. So Leggett, I mean, I've seen Leggett started popping up on NFL little accounts that I follow. You know, the scouts out there, right? They only pay attention to the player, not the school. But Leggett, people are like, who's the Leggett guy? You know, all these scouts are like, that boy 6'3", and he's running away from people, right? And so those are some things that's interesting. I think this is going to be a great football game, though. Great football game down there at Rocky Top. Rocky Top has to stand up. This is the last stand for them for me and after that Florida game.
I'm gonna tell you what, man. I just think South Carolina gonna take it. I mean, last year they had Hendon Hooker over there with Tennessee, and Spencer he outplayed his ass, man.
Was there any truth to that whole locker room issue that they had?
You talking about Tennessee?
Yeah, Ty, did you guys hear about that?
I have no idea, so I'm not the one to ask. I don't know if I know.
Supposedly there was obviously Twitter is a terrible place to get it from, but supposedly there was a rumor that was floating around all over like boards and like some Tennessee boards and then all over Twitter about there being some type of divide about NIL and certain things between like there was a defensive player and there was Hendon Hooker. Defensive players were like, F this, blah, 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 this and that. And it kind of like created a divide in the locker room between amongst the team. And so a lot of people kind of blamed that for the poor performance that you saw from Tennessee last year in this game against Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler had what, 6 touchdowns?
Yeah, 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, that was the excuse because everybody after the game was like, Spencer Rattler is okay, but he's not 6 touchdowns good, right? And so that was kind of the excuse that I saw thrown out there by a lot of Tennessee fans was that there were problems way before that game had started that really affected the team.
I don't know. Spencer was cooking that game. I'm checking. Look, his stats: 30 for 37, 438 yards, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions.
Yeah,
he was cooking. He was cooking.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to happen again. I got a feeling it's going to happen again, man.
All right, y'all. I got to hop off of here.
You got to hop off?
Yeah.
All right, man. We'll see you, Ty.
All right, y'all. See ya.
See you later.
Boomer,
right.
Ty.
We got one last game.
Nino,
what's up?
Are we going to talk Florida, Kentucky?
Yeah. That's what I wanted to talk about. I didn't even want to talk. Yeah, we got that one, and we got Georgia Auburn too. So let's start. We already know who Chris is going to pick. Let's start Florida, Kentucky. So Florida, Kentucky, man. Florida's rebound very well since the opening loss to Utah, and them going against all their backups. I think Utah had 8 starters out that game, and Billy lost that game. So look, they've rebounded very well. I think they're 3-1 right now, right? But look, they're going against Kentucky. Kentucky's 4-0 right now. They are an undefeated team here in the SEC and still not ranked in the top 25. So I think they're going to be out to prove something this week. And I honestly don't think we've seen the best in Devin Leary yet either. So Steven, what do you think about this game, man?
Yeah, no, this is Devin Leary, the running back that came from Vanderbilt. What was it? Was it Ray Davis? What was the brother that came, the 1,000-yard back? Ray
Yeah, Ray
Davis,
Davis. You talking about
Baron
the guy from
Brown.
Vandy?
Yeah. Like this is the game where these brothers need to break out, because Kentucky's 4-0, but they haven't played anybody. I mean, they
Yeah.
beat Vanderbilt in their conference game, but their non-con was soft, and they weren't. When you have a soft non-con, you need to be putting up like
60.
star, like yeah.
I need at least 40 plus.
Yeah. You can't have these 20-6 OU Cincinnati type scores.
I know. Be 10-10 with Wyoming going to the fourth quarter. Don't start.
Yeah.
Don't
So
start. Don't start.
so Devin Leary has what, 5 picks already? That's alarming. That's a red flag.
I wasn't seeing that coming.
And I'm saying that from a standpoint of, I watched Devin Leary a lot at North Carolina State. I've watched maybe a quarter of him at Kentucky. I have not watched a whole bunch of Kentucky football. I've watched a lot of Florida. So this game is more in terms of, Ty and I talk about gathering data, weeks where you gathered. This is a data gathering game.
It's a
big
data
one.
gathering game. Yep.
Because we're going to gather data on if Florida is all the way awake. Look, Florida bounced back nicely. Huge win defending home field against Tennessee. That cannot be understated enough, especially for Billy Napier. But y'all beat Charlotte. What was it, 22-7?
Yeah, it was something stupid.
Charlotte?
Yeah.
Like, again, didn't watch it, but I'm going to give Florida the benefit of the doubt because of the work they did against Tennessee. Can we be consistent? Can we be consistent, Billy Napier? Can we get Trevor Etienne getting off against Kentucky, right? And going crazy? Can the Florida defense look, just harass Devin Leary the way they were harassing Joe Milton and those receivers? I'm really interested in this game from a data gathering perspective because Kentucky on paper should be balanced. And statistically they have been, but they've been playing
all
bums.
the weapons too. Their wide receiver room is so underrated. That is a talented ass wide receiver room, man. And I just thought the marriage with those wide receivers with Devin Leary is just going to be amazing, and it's been far from it. Chris, how about you, man?
Oh, it's been lackluster. I'm just waiting for that week whenever they can get off to a really fast start and they can look like they're, truly in control of the game. I mean, hey, look, they're undefeated. It is what it is. But I think the committee is telling you, well, at least the AP polls are telling you everything that you need to know. They're just they need more. They just need that they need more. Do I think Devin Leary is a good quarterback? Yeah. I was watching a Paul Feinbaum show a couple of, I think it wasn't today, it was yesterday. And I saw them put out a, question on Twitter, who's the most underrated, college football player. And a lot of people were saying Devin Leary. And I was like, well, I can see that, but he hasn't really given us anything. He hasn't
got to show us.
Yeah, he hasn't showed us yet. So it's kind of, I don't know. Hard-nosed game. Where's the game at?
This game is going to be at Kentucky.
Okay. Yeah.
But you know what's crazy about this though?
We're talking about Kentucky.
Yeah, because this gives them
for both teams. For both teams, from a data gathering standpoint, I'm glad it's at Kentucky.
Yeah. Now, Stephen, look, I want to kind of piggyback on that too. Is so we talked about Kentucky's schedule, right? And it's not the best. And look, I will give Florida did beat Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee is who we thought they were going to be this year either. But they did beat Tennessee. It is what it is. But Florida just came off the Charlotte win, 22-7 against Charlotte. Like, really? That's what we doing in these streets?
I didn't watch the snap of that game, so somebody wants to enlighten us on why it was 22.
No, I mean, but
was there a rainstorm?
It don't have. I don't care. It's Florida versus Charlotte. I mean, it's 22-7. Like, you can even rally in the fourth quarter to go get it, 2-3 quick touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
That's nasty. What was the spread on that game?
I don't know, but that's a nasty. I mean, look, man, they scored 6 points in the second half against Charlotte. They went in the
It's a red
halftime.
flag because we said it was a red flag when Tennessee was skating by Austin P.
Yeah.
And Tennessee fans were trying, a win's a win, damn it, a win's a win. Okay,
Look here, man.
okay.
16-7 at halftime. Yeah. So look, I don't trust Graham Mertz. I'm sorry. He ain't cooking. You ask Graham Mertz to cook, he gonna give you some Cheerios with some Cheerios with some milk in the bowl and a hot dog slice up in it. That's his version of cooking. It's not that good, man. Look, it's gonna be a interesting game.
Red.
It's gonna be an interesting game, man. It's gonna be an interesting game. Look here, get 2 or 3 drinks in. Oh, here we go. Look at chicken. All right, guys, let's talk about the last game, man. Auburn versus Georgia. Georgia has not been impressive, in my opinion, this year. They just haven't. They've started off slow. I think Georgia's one of those teams that knows their defense is so damn good that when they want to kick it in, they can just press the button to kind of activate everything, and then they end up doing their damn thing. But that's just going to catch them in the butt here pretty soon, man, especially when they start playing better talent. I think Auburn's going to be on a mission this week. I don't think Auburn's going to have a chance in this game. I don't think Auburn has a shot in hell. But Auburn's going to try to do something this week. They don't have the dogs to match up with Georgia, no pun intended. But Georgia's got to be able to put a full 4 quarters together and just put their throat on somebody's neck and not let up. And until I see that, I'm not going to be thrilled or enthused with any product I see come out of Georgia until it's SEC championship game.
I guess my question is, and I didn't think I would say this year, but do you think Georgia misses Stetson Bennett?
Yeah.
And that's not to say that Carson Beck hasn't played good this year, but I'm just saying, like,
I think Carson Beck's played very good.
Yeah, he's played very well. But Stetson Bennett was, in that last year, he was a no-kidding floor general, man. Like, he owned that team. That was his team. Yeah. Like, as good as the Jalen Carters were, and every other player that got drafted, the Keely Ringos, and as good as that team was last year, the guy who got drafted in the 6th round or the 7th round was the leader of that team. Everybody knew who the guy was on that team. It was Stetson Bennett's team, and the team ran by him, and he won games for him last year. Look at that Missouri game.
Yeah, only thing I would say is just, I just need them to look inspired again, because they truly do look like they're just going through the motions. I don't necessarily know. Maybe in the second half of the South Carolina game, because they had to, but I don't know if they've really shown their hand thus far this season.
My bad, Woodward, man. I meant to say put the foot on the neck, put the foot on the throat. I said put the throat on the neck. My bad, big dude. What's that? Yeah. So look, man, they're sleepwalking. It is what it is. They won 2 straight. A lot of those guys in the team know it. Huh?
I don't know. I feel as though I don't see a difference between them last year and them this year in terms of the slow. Like, they had, now the difference. I think one big difference is they went and beat the shit out of Oregon game 1 last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they set the tone.
Like, so, but they didn't have a game like that on their schedule this year to
That's true.
go and like turn up on somebody.
Yeah,
And if you look at the rest of their schedule,
They have no motivation to do it.
the best team they're going to play is who? Missouri, Tennessee, Florida? Who's the best team left that they even have to play?
Probably Ole Miss. That's going to be the best game they have all season. Probably Ole Miss.
Ole
'Cause
Miss.
they're gonna kill Auburn.
At home.
They're gonna kill Kentucky. They're gonna kill Vanderbilt. They're gonna kill Georgia, Florida is always, that's the neutral site game. It's almost like, OU, Texas. You can throw out the records. Those guys are gonna come to play, right? That's gonna be a different game. I still think Georgia's gonna kill them. They're gonna kill Missouri. Ole Miss at home.
Let's say
Ooh.
one of these teams is pretty decent by the time they play. Like, one of them 7-2 or whatever, right? And the media tries to hype it up and does a game day. They're gonna turn up. They're gonna turn up the way they did last year. Like, when everybody thought, people were worried after the 16-6 game against Kentucky last year. I mean, that's why I'm like, the Stetson thing. I'm like, well, Stetson had times. I remember What's his,
What's that?
what's the Georgia guy? Is it Uncle Luke? Who's the Georgia guy that does YouTube videos? What's his name?
I don't
He
know.
was ready to bench Stetson after the Kentucky game. Like, and I'm like, dude, they're bored.
Yeah, they
That's
are
the
bored.
one team
But
where I will always give them the benefit of the doubt, because when it came time to play, when Tennessee got ranked number 1 when the first playoff poll came out, and they went and they said, you know what? All right, now we're gonna turn up. And then they went and beat the shit out of Tennessee, like just to prove a point.
yeah,
Until I see otherwise, that's the time that Georgia's on to me. I do see them trying to work like the running back situation. They're trying to find who their runners are. They lost a lot of running backs last year with McIntosh
yeah.
and all those guys. So they're trying to. Edwards started to come on. They're chilling with McConkey and Bowers. As long as those dudes are healthy for the big games, you know what they're gonna do in the big games. You know they're gonna run like some tight end reverse with Bowers, and he's gonna run for 60 yards.
Man,
The
Bowers ran
nasty-
for 60 yards against UT Martin. I don't want to hear that. And like Middle Tennessee State, do it against Power 5. Say it with your chest, Bowers. Just, I'm tired of hearing about Bowers and jet sweeps. Yeah, one damn good jet sweep
Uncle Lou.
against Middle
Yeah,
Tennessee
Uncle
State.
Lou.
Hey man,
Uncle Lou was ready to bench Stetson last year, man.
Look, man,
Like,
they're bored, and this is the SEC's fault for these weak ass East teams.
Horrible
They can
schedule.
really walk through the East with no problems. Their first real contest is going to be in the SEC championship game against Alabama or LSU, and that's going to be their first big contest. That's going to be their wake up call prior to the college football playoffs where they play Texas, and then Texas going to whoop that ass and we're going to win the championship. Yeah, I said it.
Nino, do you want to answer Isaac's question
What Isaac
about
say?
Billy Napier?
Oh, I wonder if Florida's head coach is trying to build this program. Well, look, Isaac, this is his third season, right? So,
No, second season.
it's his
for
second
Napier.
season because they were horrible last year, right? What were they?
He
4-8
went,
or
6-6
5-7?
last year?
Were they 6-6?
Where they go?
yeah, they made a bowl game because they got their ass beat by
That's
somebody.
right. That's right. Yeah, so he's a step ahead of our coach. You know, they made a bowl game the first year. I don't think the second year is going to be the same. I'm sorry. I don't think the second year is going to be the same.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they went 6-6.
6-6, and this year, what are they? 3-1 right now. But the meat of the schedule starting to come up. Let's take a look at their schedule prior to us getting up out of here, man. Because I got to get up out of here too in a minute. But let's look at Florida's schedule. Florida's schedule is they got beat by Utah that was missing 8 starters. That's the first game. They beat McNeese State 49-7, which they should. They beat Tennessee, which Tennessee went toe-to-toe with Austin Peay for 4 quarters. So that's not that impressive of a win to me. They went 22-7 against Charlotte. And now they play Kentucky. This is going to be a battle of the mid teams of the SEC East. And so it's going to be interesting to see who's the most mid of the mid. They're going to beat Vanderbilt, all right? South Carolina's going to beat them. Georgia's going to beat them. Arkansas is going to beat them. LSU is going to beat them. Missouri's going to beat them. And then they play Florida State's going to beat them. So I got them losing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got them losing the last 6 games of the season. They're going to finish 5-7. I mean, look, honestly, you guys think Florida going to beat South Carolina?
I don't know. That's kind of a toss up.
You know what, though? You know what, right? You know what, though? Let me stop. You're right. South Carolina's a toss-up. So they could go 6-6. I'll give them that. Georgia's going to put them in the dirt. All right? It is what it is. They're going to put them in the dirt. All right? Arkansas is going to dig them back up from the dirt, dig the grave 6 more feet deeper, and throw them back in the dirt. LSU going to come in and put the dirt on top of the grave. Missouri going to come in and finish it off and put the flowers on top of the casket. And then Florida State, they just going to say, bless that child. That's what's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's 6-6 is the best they're going to do this year. They have no quarterback.
I just love how Nick all of a sudden just he just telling it like it is. You know what I'm saying? He just he telling everybody about their squad. You know what I'm saying? Just telling it like it is.
Yeah, man.
With some hair on your chest, not on your head, but on your chest.
I
I
don't got
see
none
it.
in my head. You
So-
right, man.
All I know is next week we get to have our annual gathering. Hopefully, Seth will join us.
Yeah, where's Seth at, man? Tell him volleyball's
I don't
over.
know. All I
Tell
know
him
is this
softball
right here
over,
is
man.
Next
Y'all
look,
let me know
hey,
the
look.
date and the time. We'll get it set up. I'd love to tell the people.
Hold on.
when
I
we're
just
going
want to say
live.
this. I want to say this before we get off. We all friends, right?
Yeah,
We all brothers, right?
somewhat.
I'll say, are we friends? Are we friends and brothers? Just good.
Yeah,
Yes or no?
yeah.
Well, I gotta
Am
say
I
this
my
right here.
brother's keeper?
Starting on Monday, this coming Monday, both of y'all enemies. Don't say nothing that's crazy, all right? Because I'm gonna throw kill shots at both of y'all. I've been waiting on this week, and I've been waiting on both of y'all. And Nick, if I see you in Dallas, all right, if I see you in Dallas, I'm gonna smack this out of you. Okay, I promise you. Do not go to the Red River game. If I see you down there, Nick, it's on site.
Man, get out of
Stevie,
here.
Stevie,
Get out of here.
I'm gonna let you walk away. But if you say anything to me at the Red River game too, I'm gonna have to put hands on you. I'm just letting you know. It's beef. It's beef on site on Monday. Don't come talking all that mess. Y'all already know what it is. It's Boomer Sooner till I die. That's all I gotta say.
Hey, Chris, who defense
To
better,
respond
Cincinnati or
to
Texas?
questions when we ask him questions in the group chat, please.
Hey, hey, Chris.
Stop being so spicy.
Hey, man. Hey, Chris, answer this question for me. Who defense better, Cincinnati or Texas?
Cincinnati. How about that?
Child,
what we
please.
That's what we're doing. It's beef. But y'all focus on Kansas. Y'all focus on Kansas this week because y'all are what? Y'all are 1-2 in the last 3 years against Kansas. So y'all focus on them boys. We'll see y'all after this week. Monday is beef on site. Y'all already know.
We're gonna handle our business. We're gonna be 5-0. You just make sure y'all get past Iowa State. All right. You barely got past Cincinnati. Cincinnati gave you to the last down.
Okay. Let's actually face the team. It's sad
with
that
that sorry ass quarterback y'all got.
It's sad to say this, but Kansas is the best team that y'all faced thus far this season. How about that?
Well, who's the best team y'all faced?
Let's get off of here.
Hold on.
That's all I gotta say.
Who the best team y'all faced this year? SMU?
It's coming.
Who the best team y'all faced this year? SMU?
Don't worry about it.
No.
Don't worry about us. I'm just saying, man.
SMU
y'all about
ain't
to face Jay Daniels, who has been a thorn in y'all side.
And we faced Jalen Milroe and we bust his ass.
Two different guys, two different quarterbacks.
We're gonna bust his ass. We bust his ass last year.
Okay.
What was it? 44-6? What was it?
Okay.
In Kansas.
Okay.
In his own, he got to sleep in his own.
Yeah, but y'all was doing that on the back of.
Look here, I don't want to
Bijan
hear that.
And Roshan
And Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan Brooks too.
Jonathan Brooks, no, please stop. What'd you say, child? Please. No.
And look here. Jaden got to get out of his own bed, come to the stadium in this nice stadium, nice locker room, waterfall coming down from the side of the wall. Got to eat out of his own lunch hall, big steak dinners and everything. Texas come in, but they put us in the little lousy thing. We went there, whooped that ass, and went back home. Now, look, we get to be at home, have our nice stuff. We're going to whoop their ass down there in DKR. Watch. They defense is porous. Quinn going to have a field. You know what? Quinn ain't going to have a field day because Jonathan Brooks going to run all over him with Chris, like Chris say, with his non-factor self.
He did last year.
Jonathan Brooks? Oh, my God.
Just like he did last year.
Oh, my God.
Like he did last year.
Oh boy, I can tell y'all ain't got really done. You can tell that y'all ain't got to talk about because y'all talking about Jonathan Brooks. Get off my screen, man.
Jonathan Brooks ran for a touchdown against y'all and did a backflip while he was doing it.
Nick, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Boy. I mean, not
a
Nick,
backflip. It was a front flip.
Steven,
it was a front flip.
You my boy. I'm gonna let you live tonight, all right? Because I want you to have a good night, all right? Tell everybody.
Y'all let us know.
I said have a great
night.
What
day of the week works best for you, brothers, so we can get this booked, okay? Because I don't want to hear no excuses.
Thursday.
I want
Thursday.
All the
I
smoke
can do Thursday.
y'all
all right. Well, somebody tell Seth that.
Yeah,
because Every time I say something to Seth, he gives me the FU, blah, blah, blah. So somebody else needs to deliver that to Seth. If we can get Seth on board
Tell
so he can
Seth
make his triumphant return back to
softball
YouTube.
season is over. It's football season. Now come on. I'm tired of talking about
Okay,
I'm tired
dude.
of
We
on
are
Seth
outside,
timeline
sir.
seeing softball shit.
We are
Nick.
outside, Chris. Get your boy. Let's talk. We just want
Nick.
to talk.
Nick, you know what
We
you
just
need.
want to talk.
Nick, you know what you need.
What I need, man.
You need a country boy ass whooping. That's what you need.
Child, please.
That's what you need.
Child, please. I'm from the
I'm gonna
Justice
take that
Street,
hat off and
Hey.
then take the glasses off.
Ain't nothing country about me. Ain't nothing country about me. I'm
I'll
from
just
Shreveport.
let
You
you know.
better do your research on the Shreveport boys. You better do your research.
Look,
Come on down to Motown where your body get found. That's what we call it. Now
Hey.
come on now.
hey, we just want to talk, huh? All right.
Here you go.
All right.
Remember when
Y'all
Chris
know I
said,
ain't hard to find.
"Hey, Chris, I'm looking at these comments. You remember when Chris said he didn't know who JT Sanders was last year?
Still don't.
I remember. I remember him scoring 3 touchdowns on y'all.
That's right. We just want to talk, brother. Tell Steph that.
Oh, David Williams said the best 2 teams OU played this year are ranked around 50th in the nation. The worst 2 teams OU played are among the 20 worst teams in the nation. OU schedule so far is the weakest in
Bro,
the
this
nation.
dude look like a skinny Marcellus Wiley. Get him off my screen, bro. I don't want to see this guy.
Don't be talking about David, man. You got all love over here, David. It's
Where's
all good.
frightening at?
Oh,
Where's
love
frightening?
David
It ain't
Williams.
official unless frightening ain't hating in here.
Long time listener.
Oh, man, we're talking
Shout
about
out to David Williams.
Hey,
Always
man, I
got
gotta
it.
get us
Hey,
out
y'all
of here.
bring Kieran on there too. I got words for him too. Kieran been throwing shots and everything. He ain't. You know what? Kieran, my brother, I am so happy for you. Overtime, all the rest of that, you went to leaps and bounds, bro. You did the damn thing. But I ain't heard from you since I dropped that video, bro. I ain't heard from you. You went radio silent, man. I put that
Which
Twitter
video?
Space little thing out there, huh?
Which video? The old video?
Oh yeah. That one I dropped last year. That one about the Twitter Space legends, and I had Kieran in there talking. Hey, Kieran, I ain't heard from you, man. I took a shot at you. I threw a personal shot at you. I ain't heard.
I like to try to keep debates like this even. But if you ask for Kieran,
He coming.
be careful because he will be there.
Joey.
Be careful what you wish for.
Joey, that Southern classic, yes indeed, right down the street from my house. How about them Southern made donuts? I know it. Yeah, come on, Joey. I'm from around that way.
I'm just
Grew
letting
up walking
you know.
them streets, man, with some Golden
Hey.
Champagne and MD 2020 at 12
Hey.
years old. I'm from around that way.
If you got the smoke, I want it. That's all I know. I ain't hard to find. Y'all know me. I'm down for a good talk. I got the points. I
You
got
ain't
the
won it
receipts.
last year. Last year, you left the stadium in the third quarter.
Seth,
You left the stadium in the third quarter last year. We were trying to meet up with you after the
Hold
game.
on.
You left the stadium in the third quarter.
My question for Steven is this: You really want me to bring Seth out of retirement? That's what you want me to do?
yes.
Okay.
We've been
That's
trying
all.
to get
Hey,
Seth.
that's all I need to know. I would tell Seth. I would message Seth and say, "Hey, Steven personally said he
Have I
wants
not
you."
been clear about this?
We've been in the come on.
I'm
Don't be
just
acting
making
like
sure. I'm just making sure because you know Seth owe you a couple of shots. I'm just letting you know.
we've been talking in our back channels. Don't act like we ain't, like the 4 of us ain't been talking. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. Next week, Friday, next Thursday, we're gonna have a special
Seth
episode
doesn't show
here.
up. That literally means, like Jacob said, Kieran put him into retirement because for a lot of the greater audience, people have not seen Seth since the atonement video.
No,
So-
yes, stop it. He was very live during OU softball season. You just got he was live, all right?
Hey,
He was
Nick.
live.
Nick, see what I'm saying?
He was live.
Nick,
So I'm just saying. So hey, don't put that on Seth. I seen Seth. I seen him out there in them Twitter streets. OU softball was kicking ass. He switched his whole tune after the Red River Shootout. He went from football. DG is the man. Watch BV. If I saw BV, I would think he's gonna kick my ass. I'm walking across the street.
Nick. Be quiet, Nick.
And after that game,
Be quiet, Nick.
Karen made that boy start talking about
Nick,
softball early.
Nick, I'm gonna make you go out there and kick that switch. I'm gonna go out there and make you
That
kick
boy-
that switch.
That boy
That's what
Karen
I
made
want.
Seth start talking about softball real early that year, man. It was a wrap. Yeah, what it is, man. It's all good, man. Hey, you guys try. You guys tried. It's all good. We're gonna see.
All right.
2 weeks.
All
2
right.
weeks.
We'll back channel on a date, everybody, and once we have our date set, we'll let you guys know when we have our official Red River Trash Talk preview that's now become an annual thing, and we will try to get Seth in color. Hopefully, he's still with us. No clones or any funny business. But we actually have the real Seth Oliveras here. Would love to see him. I want to make sure he's okay. I want to see my brother, man.
Nick,
Hey, guys, Seth gonna be fine. Hey, to all the people listening, you guys understand Seth is going through his master's program. He's teaching too, getting everything. So, just all fun and games. Seth is doing great things, but he gonna have to show up and get these receipts here on Thursday.
Nick, you better have your points together because
I don't need my points. It's all up here. I don't have to write down that when I know my team.
All I know,
I know my team.
All I know is this.
Man, get that
Be
out
on
of here.
that ass, boy. I'm gonna be on
Man,
that ass.
yeah, I'm gonna say the hardest team y'all play, SMU and
The
TCU.
robot
Blew them boys
smell
out.
out of here, bro.
It took y'all forever to get paid. I
Steven.
don't want to hear that.
Steven, when I have Nino down and I'm standing over him and I'll raise my hand like
Man,
this.
pause,
right
man.
here.
Standing over me, have me down. Pause.
Hey, Steven.
Don't say
Steven.
that. That's too much.
Steven,
I
you
don't
better
do
push
that.
me off of it.
I don't
You
do
better
that.
push me off
Pause.
of it.
That's too much information over me. And
Look.
man, pause, man. You better put a pause behind that.
I gotta go, but I'm gonna say this right here. Boomer Sooner till I die. Put Boomer Sooner in the chat if you feel what I'm trying to say. Thursday, tomorrow night, Horns Down Podcast. You already know. Tune in for the Iowa State OU preview. If that's what you into, then that's what we into. Pull up, do what you gotta do. You already know. Boomer Sooner, and all of y'all in the chat that's all talking this stuff or whatnot, I keep receipts. Y'all need to know. After we beat y'all and we 6-0, I don't want to hear nothing. These two gonna be radio silent. They ain't gonna come on no show. They ain't gonna do that.
Hey,
So,
hey,
y'all have y'all fun while y'all can have it. I'm out.
Hey, Chris, what was that stuff Seth was talking about? Sooner, what was it? In Sprinkle.
Magic?
No, it was the Sooner Magic. Yeah, but anyways, I wondered if Seth doing his thesis on the power of belief. Now I was gonna say the power of that Sooner imbued and so how did you say it, Steven? I can't even think about it.
Imbued in Sooner Magic.
That's fine. That's fine.
Never forget it.
Steven got his confidence back with that haircut last week. That boy was barely saying 2 words. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, we about to go to hell next week. All right, y'all. It's almost 9 o'clock.
Last week, and he coming back now.
Well, man, save your stuff for next week. Save your best material for next week, Chris. It's about to look, man. It's almost 9 o'clock, man. I got to do some reading. I got to do some reading.
I got to bounce too.
All right, man. We out, man. See you.